This is the modified crankshaft for what will become Asbo 28, which is a modified Royal Enfield 350 Model G engine that I'm working on, and I had a bit of a scare with the crankshaft in that I thought that the drive side main shaft might have been very slightly loose in the flywheel, which would have meant splitting it again, and it turned out that I had a faulty chuck in the lathe, so I put another chuck in it, and that's got rid of that problem. And I've tested it fitted into, I've got quite a wide needle roller bearing on the drive side, which doesn't allow the crank to flop around at all because it's so wide and such a good fit. So this can basically represent any throw that there might be, you know, on the crank when it's in the engine. And also this timing side main shaft, where I've got this temporary bearing here fitted, has got slight wear on it because it used to run directly in open rollers, but that's going to be modified, or rather the crankcase is going to be modified so that it can accept a bearing, something like this in there. And this bearing's quite a good fit on the main shaft. It's just temporary, this one, it's a used one. If we look at the clock, that's in thousandths of an inch, that clock. Yeah, we're on the 0. We're getting about 3 thousandths of an inch run out on that crankshaft between the drive side main bearing and where the timing side main bearing will be. And 3 thou at that point, with the crankshaft only supported on the one side, is pretty good. And it took a while to get it down to that, because supported between centres, one there and one there in the lathe, at this point and this point I was getting a discrepancy of 1 thou. But the thing is, the shafts, you're alright taking a reading off a certain point, but if the shafts are, say, laying like that, that's exaggerating, you've got no control or no readings for what's happening further in or further out. So at least this way it's a real world check of what the crank will behave like in the engine, and this is pretty good. Be happy with that. And this crankshaft is a whole 2 kilograms lighter than standard and rebalanced, so it should help liven the engine up no end. And I'm very happy with this now, because after that little scare I had with it, I think the crank is okay, and we can move on with the job and proceed with the rest of it once the timing side case comes back machined to accept detachable ball bearing like this one, rather than the open rollers that it had before. And then we can build the bottom end up and have a look and see what can be done with the top end. Happy days.